Some things in my art practice didn't go as I had planned them to this year, and today I want to talk about how I rallied with the punches and continued going, even though things were disappointing. And so today, here are some really important lessons that I learned along the way of this year. Hi, welcome back to my studio. My name's Rebecca Victoria. I am a professional fine artist, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. I made some big mistakes, including one that has costed me hundreds of dollars, but sometimes you just have to accept that and move on. And I wanted to share what making mistakes has taught me, how it's made me stronger, more resilient, and why it's okay to make mistakes, and just remember to give yourself grace. So let's get into it, shall we? So one thing that happened this year, it actually happened the other week. There's been a couple mishaps that I've done, but this thing that happened the other week to me was I have been working really hard on creating these really beautiful, intricate digital artworks that reflect my paintings, but I can also print them digitally and they come up beautifully and really nice. And just a different way to explore this same genre in my art practice, but just with a different medium, and just to throw some different things in there. So I created a whole bunch of these, and then I decided that I was ready to get them printed, and I decided I wanted to print some postcards because postcards are a really beautiful way to stay connected with people, and the act of writing and physically spending your time sitting down to write a postcard to someone and then taking it to the post office and mailing it the slow way, I just think that's so nostalgic and whimsical and beautiful. So I kind of wanted to tap into that a little bit and print some postcards out and create a bit of that beautiful concept into my artwork. So I created the artworks, I figured out what I wanted on the back of the art, and then I got ready to print. And I printed, I think I printed 100 of each just to start, see how they looked. It was still expensive. I should have printed less. I should have printed like 5 of each and just seen how they looked. I should have done a trial print run essentially and practice and made sure I was happy with them, made sure I was happy with the quality, with the way the text was, with the way the writing was, with the way that the artwork actually printed, the colors that came through, and made sure that I was happy with the quality of the paper and just everything before I did a bigger print run. And that was a really big mistake I made, because I made a spelling mistake on all 800 of these artworks and printing. So now I have to garbage them essentially because I spelled my website wrong on the back. How silly am I? Anyway, so that was a big mistake that I made this year, and I learned a lot from it, and I beat myself up a lot about it because making a spelling mistake is so on brand for me. Like, I've always had a tough time with spelling. It's just who I am. I'm not an English major, that's for sure. I am a lot more creative and artistic. And so I learned a lot about giving myself grace and not being so hard on myself and just allowing myself to be okay with making mistakes. That's how you learn. Now I know I am not going to do that again. I will do a sample order first. Ugh. So simple, so obvious. I didn't want to waste time. I didn't want to waste money on a sample order. I was like, let's just get the ball rolling. But in the end, it's costed me more money, more time, and a lot more frustration. And for me, frustration, stress, and anxiety and all that turns into pain and fatigue in my body. So it's not worth it in the long run. And I have learned the lesson, so now I can move on. One thing I learned is that it's really important to let go of mistakes, not to dwell on them, not to put too much meaning into them, because we as human beings, we put so much meaning and emotion and stress into things that it doesn't make sense. Like, that meaning that I was putting into it was something that I was putting in. So if I can change the narrative and change the story, then isn't that so much better? So I realized that I could really shift my perspective on how I looked at this whole situation, and that is exactly what I did. I used my knowledge of how to be positive, how to speak to yourself, how to change your thought patterns, and what this can do for you. All these things that I've been learning about mindset, law of attraction, and the neuroscience behind it all, and how you can change the way you look at something and that changes the outcome of it. And I utilized all of these skills that I've been slowly building upon myself, and I changed the narrative. I changed the way I look at it. Yes, I printed 800 of them. Doesn't matter. Let's look at that as my trial print run. Whether it was 50, 200, 600, it doesn't matter. That is now my trial print run. That is done. Check. Okay. Next, we move on. Because I spent more money on it, that's just the way it goes. I have to be okay with letting go with this mistake and not dwell on it, not let it change my story, my narrative, and just be okay with it. And once I did that, things just were a lot easier, and I let go of that stress. It's like, it's gone, it's done. It's done, it's done. It's really important to remember that just every creative journey has setbacks. Nothing is going to be seamless and easy, and if it was, would it be as satisfying when things got done? I know now that when I get this done, they're going to be so much better because I've actually redesigned them all and made them look a ton better, and I'm so much happier with them now. So had I not made that mistake, I wouldn't have been able to get to this point. If I just printed them, kept those cards, and gone along with that design, that would have been my design. And now I'm going to reprint them completely redesigned, and I know I'm so much happy with them, and they really fit into this vibe of the whimsy and the nostalgia that I wanted. I was kind of able to make them look a little bit more antique-y, not the drawings at the back of the card. I kept the drawings the exact same, but I was able to make the back of the card look a bit more antique-y because I realized that was something that was important to me for this concept and this idea. And I used this mistake as a way to just push myself forwards, move on, and I will get them reprinted. I haven't even done it yet. I'm taking my time to do it properly this time and not be worried about it. This block, this problem in the road has actually really helped me. I've been able to make them so much better, and I've taken the pressure off a lot because now I'm like, whatever, they'll get here when they get here. It really doesn't matter. And the really cool thing about these art prints as postcards is they can be framed. They can either be used as prints and be framed up for your house. They can be gifted as prints, or they can be used as postcards. And I think that's so cool that they have so many multi-purposes. You could also send them to someone and then they could put them on their wall. And I think it's amazing that we can have these layers to the artwork here. It's not just one thing. It's not just a postcard, or it's not just a print. It's multiple things at once, and I think that's so cool, and I love that about this idea that I'm creating. So initially when this all happened, I was devastated. I texted my husband and said, I've made a really big mistake and I'm really upset with myself. And he was at work, so he couldn't get back to me right away. So I was really kind of alone on this hill, and I really had to just take the time to process it. My mom actually called me and she found the mistake. She found the spelling error, and she told me, and she felt so bad because she knew how upset I was. But ultimately, I know it will help grow and be better. And I know it'll be worth it in the long run, and it'll be okay. It's something that happens, and it's really not a big deal in the long run. In the scheme of things, like one spelling mistake is really not a big deal, and it really doesn't matter. So I really had to sit myself down, have a really hard, frank conversation with myself, and just remind myself that exact thing, that it really, in the scheme of things, doesn't matter. It's something that I'll barely remember looking back, and it's really not that big a deal at all. And just give myself grace, be kind to myself, and just keep showing up in a really authentic, beautiful way, and just keep doing what I want to do. Another really frustrating thing that happened this year was that I was working on this commissioned artwork, and it was a 5x7, so not too big, which is lucky for this situation. And so I'd worked on it. I was about 3/4 of the way through, and I knocked my coffee cup over and it spilled all over the drawing. I was so upset. Ultimately, I just had to start again from the beginning because there was no saving it. It wasn't going to be exactly what the client wanted, and I was really mad with myself. I really was, because it's such a simple, easy mistake. Honestly, it could happen at any point. I have my laptop in front of me and a coffee in front of me right now, and that's probably a really bad idea. I could knock the coffee over and wreck my laptop. Like, it just, these things happen, and we can't. I'm gonna put this over here right now because now it's in my head. I can't think of anything else. These things happen, and we can't control everything, and we cannot plan for everything. So the best that I learned from that is you can plan for things, but just expect that sometimes there's going to be hiccups along the way. Sometimes there's going to be disappointments and bumps along the road, and that is okay. That is part of being human, and that is the beautiful human experience of life that we get. We don't want everything to be perfect. We really don't. Like, I recreated the artwork, and the second time I did it, it was so much better, and I was like, there was a reason for this. There was a silver lining, and the silver lining was that I created a better artwork, and I was able to get the likeness a lot better right from the beginning. So it worked better, and for some reason it was meant to happen, and it worked out to be a blessing in disguise, realistically. So I really had to shift that frustration and that guilt that I initially felt to curiosity and problem solving. I looked at how maybe I could have saved it, but then I just was like, no, I'm just gonna redo it. It's not worth trying to make this look like something that I did on purpose, because it wasn't, and that's okay. That's okay. Another thing that happened this year to me was I was working on 2 artworks at once. So one was a very intricate, detailed pencil drawing of my daughter's hands and my hands together, and then the other was it's a gift that I'm giving to a relative, and then the other was a commissioned artwork that I was doing on the other side, and it was a gouache portrait of a dog, and I accidentally got gouache on my artwork, and it was 3/4 of the way through. I just had them sitting on the same desk and was working. While the one was drying, I would work on the drawing, and it ended up being a really bad decision because I transferred gouache onto the artwork, and because it was one of my artworks, this wasn't a commission drawing, I decided I was going to really let the curiosity go with this one and just see what happened. And I decided to use the same color. It was a beautiful, brilliant blue. And I decided to see how I could make it work. See if I could make it work as a really raw, emotional brushwork that was authentic and looked almost like a mistake, but was a bit more purposeful at the same time, or became more purposeful. So I ended up being able to use that in the background, and I really loved how it turned out. It ended up being really beautiful. I let it dry, and then I continued working on the pencil drawing, and yeah, it worked out beautifully. And that was one time when this accident turned into something really amazing, and sometimes that can happen, and when it does, it is a beautiful success story, and it feels so good and so exhilarating when you can get something to turn into a positive for you like that. I have situations like that in my paintings, in my in my series that I was working on, and I really lent into that in my creative experience lately, especially with these oil paintings. I have really turned that into a big part of the artwork, letting chance, letting gravity, letting things that are out of my control become a part of this artwork, because I think that is really a beautiful way of a nod to nature, a nod to the fact that we are humans living on this earth and not the other way around. This is not our earth. We are visiting and being on this earth, and we owe it to this earth to say thank you. And I feel like they're this beautiful love note to the earth and love note to nature and to beautiful landscapes, and just saying thank you for looking after us. And that's why I love to allow the spontaneity and the mistakes and the gravity and the lack of control that I have, because I feel that way in nature. Sometimes there's such a lack of control, even with my body. When my fibro flare-ups are bad, I have no control. I have no control over it. I can do the best I can, but I can't, ultimately at the end of the day, I can't control it. So I think that is a beautiful thing that has come out in my latest series of artwork, which is going to be available on my website right away. It might even be available now, so I will put the link up here somewhere if it's ready, hopefully. So one thing I plan on doing moving forwards, as I'm starting to plan for next year and set up everything, I am going to build bigger margins of time into my deadlines. I am going to plan for some mistakes to happen and be okay with that. If I can deliver early, amazing. If not, I've given myself an extra breathing room, day, week, whatever it ends up being, and just to be like really intentional about that and start projects earlier in the year so that I have more time and things don't get stressful and I don't have to worry about deadlines. Basically, I want to kind of try and eliminate the whole idea of deadlines, because I would love to be so organized and prepared that everything is ready early, and then I can either deliver it early or just wait till the deadline and deliver it on the deadline. And that is my really big plan for next year, to try and eliminate some of these like little mishaps. A lot of them are timing wise, and that will help take the pressure off. So I want to expect that maybe some accidents will happen and be okay with it when they do, and just plan for them to happen, because sometimes that can really just take the pressure off, and I'm hoping that it does. So I guess I'll check in with that again next year. And just remember that mistakes and challenges are a part of everybody's small business, everybody's art practice, and it all leads to growth in the long run. It sucks at the time, it's hard to go through, but in the long run you will be glad that you have gone through this, because it will lead to better things on the other end. I know and believe this 100% in my heart. And just everything always works out the way it was meant to. It might not work out the way you expected it to, but I think it often ends out even better. If there's something that I've taken away from these experiences, it works out better. So I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to follow along. If you enjoyed this content, you can be the first to know when more is available, and I would love it if you love this to share this with a fellow artist friend or a small business friend that might benefit from this idea and the things that I've been talking about and really resonate with these stories that I'm telling today. If you want to continue this conversation, or you had a situation like this in your home, your business, your creative career this year, please let me know in the comments. I would love to chat more about it, and I can't wait to talk to you more. I'm going to leave you with that, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that maybe you have some time in your day today to go and get some artwork done, and I am sending you so much love. Bye.